Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Southern 250. The start of the ARCS A-Square Cup Series playoffs begin tonight here at Darlington Raceway here in South Carolina. Welcome, everyone, to ABN's coverage of the ARCS Darkside Mustangs A-Square Cup Series as we begin the round of 16 for playoff action to determine a champion 2023. Qualifying currently underway, but for those tuning in, we appreciate you spending your Saturday evening with us here on ABN. I'm Carmen, Sienna. Alongside me, as always, Kevin Young. For the first time, it's A-Square Cup Series action on Saturday night. And what an event to have it happen out here in Darlington. A crown jewel event here, not only in the stock car community, but in ARCS as well. Kevin, this track's a difficult one. What are drivers facing tonight?
Well, it's going to be a bit of a tricky one. It's kind of a one-crew racetrack to a degree where it's going to be kind of hard to go side by side. So kind of running to the wall and running a middle to high groove, we're going to see most of these drivers do. But it's going to be about a bit of a struggle to try to get the power down in certain points to make sure the car doesn't spin out. I just saw my own perspective here with third place struggling on his lap there. Now scrapes the wall. It's kind of easy to put the power down in the wrong spot. The car kicks out and you're going to have mistakes. So just trying to keep the car smooth, keep it straight, and at least one car will probably smack the wall, but trying to minimize the wall taps you do, not give the lady in black a little more black coat of paint, would probably be for the best course of action.
You see the weather on the right-hand side of your screen. Very little wind. Not a lot of temperature, obviously, as you run this race into the nighttime here this evening. Looking at Brandon Proudfoot on track here. Obviously from Eastford, Pennsylvania, the A-Square Cup Series rookie already has a win in the HTL Cup Series. However, will not be present for Monday night's race at Daytona. So looking to shake that off and open up his A-Squared win account. Currently 7th on the qualifying times here. Here's a look right now at everyone as they currently run. I'm about to make sure that we get all this information sent to the right area here. Make sure to see. I have to put that away for a moment so we can actually pull it up for y'all.
Yeah, well, while you do that, I will fill in that right now on the top of the board is Joshua Gaiman and Daniel Michelle. They're the first two drivers locked in the front row at the moment, both playoff drivers in that regard. And as we do wait for the championship standings to kind of pull up here to show you what the playoffs look like, because if you were here last week, we had the cutoff race. Now we know the 16 drivers fighting for a championship.
Absolutely. Tommy Reynolds and Brandon Fetter place top of the board. Reynolds with 5 wins in the season. Brandon Fetter place with a win, but also the regular season championship. Top of the board here. This is the top 16 as they currently run. Josh Gaiman, Daniel Michelle, Jeremy Breo, all in that as well. As you look kind of further down here, this is again just the round of 16. It'll kind of be eliminated as we go through. There's 3 races in the round of 16, 3 races in the round of 12, 3 races in the round of 8 to determine who is battling for the championship at Phoenix. But that's where the current runners are sitting points-wise here tonight.
And it should be worth noting there are a few drivers that, due to just issues or just not being able to show up tonight, so they are going to put themselves in a bit of a hole here to start. Some drivers on that list include Jeremy Breo, currently in 5th position, only 10 points above the line in question, and he's going to put himself in an already kind of a big hole here where the next 2 races may have to be winning in. Some other drivers to add to that list are Austin Pennell and Ryan Pennell, respectively, both at the 200-point threshold, neither having to win, so couldn't secure any extra playoff points for their troubles, and already kind of missing tonight's race is not going to help them out. But at the very least, there's still 2 rounds left, and if they can get maybe some good runs, maybe even get a win, they don't have to worry about missing Darlington tonight. As qualifying ticks to the end here, just a minute and 30 to go here. Most drivers have elected to put down at least one time here. Brandon Proudfoot just set down their second lap, or well, already have done now, just kind of doing some extra warm-up laps here, meaning every driver has done a lap, excluding Alfred George in the number 2 for Presidential Racing. He's the only car that has not yet, and with the lap time to go around here, it's highly unlikely he will take in a lap. meaning Joshua Gaiman and Danny Michelle will secure the front row and will not have to go through the heats to secure their spots, while every other driver will have to decide their spot through the heats. So 30 seconds to go here. And it's a good situation because most of the cars in the top 10 right now are playoff drivers. Actually, worth noting, all 10 except for one, the 22 of Proudfoot, are playoff drivers. So it looks like it's going to be a chance for a playoff driver to walk away with a win. But in that same regard, there is a chance of a spoiler, a chance for like a Proudfoot, a Mongold, the Patrick Oberstadt situation to kind of play spoiler here and maybe take a win away from a driver that could use it to lock themselves in. And that's going to be the end of qualifying.
Alrighty. So qualifying is going to wrap up here, which means we do have time for warm-up. There are no heats.
Oh, yeah.
In the playoffs here. 18 drivers in this heat, so we're gonna have 5 minutes for everyone to kind of just get things settled in. So heats are done for the rest of the year, which means it's purely down to stages now.
Right. So no free points during the heats, so you're gonna have to get them to the stage.
Absolutely, and that's going to kind of change how people attack these races here. 250 miles, but I believe 183 laps is the race distance.
184.
184, so round it up. Some will round up, some will round down. ABN's Cup Series race 183 laps, for example. So a little discrepancy there. But you see a lot of cars getting on track immediately, again following that of Proudfoot, who missed out on race wins here this evening. We'll pull up the points again once more with energy here as we keep the warm-up here as well. A little bit easier to kind of read who's in what car. 16 drivers in the playoff standings here tonight. Reynolds, Fetterplace, Gaiman, Michelle, Breo, Wright, Sears, Wanzi in the top half. Again, you want to be in the top 12 by the end of this round. We have 3 races to determine who's going to make it on to the round of 8, or round of 12, excuse me. And as you can tell, it's already tight near the bottom there with Purnell, Kruger, Leiter, Ryan Pennell, and Feemster all sitting at the bottom. They did not have wins in the regular season, so they got no bonus points. A win got you 5 bonus points. The regular season title got you 15. So Fetterplace up near the top there, despite only having 1 win. Tommy Reynolds, however, stays at the very top of the standings here with 2,025 points. At the end of 3 races, the top 12 move on, and they move up to 3,000 points. Then 4,000 points for those that make it into the round of 8, and then 5,000 points will be the leveling cap for those in the championship 4. So regardless, these drivers cannot finish worse than where they're at right now in the top 16. They cannot drop below 16th. They do not get resorted into the chase field or into the regular season field. They stay sort of in this bubble that we're seeing on your screen right now.
Yeah, they get isolated. It's not like the old U-Technics games where after a season, like after the playoffs ended, or the first round of the playoffs ended, they'd reseed the cars in situation. You're in kind of your own little bubble regardless. So whoever finishes last here in the championship standings will still finish 16th regardless of how poor they may do for these weeks.
And kind of pointing out something real quick. So obviously there's been some changes to this lineup compared to last time you saw us at Daytona just 6 days ago. How much things have changed in 6 days. There are 18 cars in tonight's field. Matthew Leiter wasn't supposed to be in the playoff grid. However, following Daytona, a penalty was levied to Bandit Racing's Aiden Norman. Things transpired behind the scenes, and that team has since withdrawn from the series. So you will not see Bandit Racing in these final 10 races. It moved Matthew Leiter up spots since he was the first driver out. Aiden Norman fell back out of the playoffs. So Matthew Leiter with literally a second chance to try to make something happen here in this final stanza of the season, as you see that information on the top, really center of your screen. Again, and you're going to kind of see them color coordinated here. Drivers in red on the tower on the left-hand side are all in the playoffs. Those in black are not.
And yeah, Leiter's probably not going to, Leiter's going to definitely take advantage of the second opportunity here because, again, with Ada Norman rescinding a spot and then Bandit Racing deciding to pull out of the sport, pull out of the remainder of the season, I should say, in this regard, it opened the door because Bradley Wright would have been the next driver, but since he was part of Bandit Racing leaving, it in turn opened the door for Matthew Leiter to get in. So Matthew Leiter thanking his lucky stars here, but he's definitely not going to want to waste this opportunity here. He's got a chance to run for a championship, and after Daytona, when his season was, he thought his season was done after like 30 laps, he's looking now at a chance to get some gold here.
Absolutely, and that is a lease on life, very appreciated. As you look at Josh Gaiman, currently top of the board. Tommy Reynolds in pit lane has set his laps, and he is good to go for the rest of the session. Then you have the regular season champion, and Brandon Fetterplace sitting in currently 8th place, but a little bit of security here.
As warm-up comes to a close, I've just come to a close here with 1 second remaining. Now we've hit the official end of warm-up. We're going to get ready for the race.
Again, 18 cars in tonight's grid. This is what everything's going to look like here for the Southern 250. Josh Gaiman at the front of the field ahead of Daniel Michelle, Tommy Reynolds, and Kevin Feemster in row number 2. Bryn Roberts and Tom Sears make up row number 3. Top 6, all playoff drivers ahead of Brandon Proudfoot and Edward Marshall. David Wright and Matthew Leiter in row number 5. Another pair of playoff drivers there, Stephen Oberstadt on the outside of row 6, alongside rookie driver Austin Mongol. Looking a little further down this order here, Tommy Withers won a race early in the season, won at Las Vegas. He'll start 13th alongside Seth Wansing, both of them wanting to get into the top 10 quickly here tonight. Row 8, Brandon Fetterplace did not have a good qualifying position for him in Line Power Motorsports, number 34. Patrick Oberstadt, a little bit of a number change for him as well, to the 41 for the Prophecy Motorsports driver. He was in the 6th last week at Daytona. Emma Kruger will round out the back of the field alongside the returning Irish George. So drivers from 3 different countries represented here tonight in the Southern 250. As cars begin the roll.
Yep, as they get away here. Before we do get started, just to kind of pull the curtain for a second, Carmen, can you share your screen for me, please, so I don't have to rely on some delay? Thank you. So, yeah.
Beautiful camera work being provided to us by Henderson Graphics, a partner of the HTL Cup Series, also giving us some amazing angles here tonight at Darlington.
Yeah, we're going to get that HTL camera package here for A Squared, which A Squared's probably very grateful to have, providing some great shots. Stage 1 will end on lap 50, and I assume stage 2 will go to 100.
Yes, you are correct. So lap 50 is the end of stage 1, lap 100 is the end of stage 2, and that gives us an 83-lap run to the finish of tonight's race. For those wondering, we're running on Saturday nights because the real-life race is tomorrow, as well as Saturday Night Showdown, which is taking place on a Sunday. It's a bit backwards, but with it being a Hallmark race, they wanted to do something special for it, and tonight was the night to do that. Pace car pulls into pit lane. Out of turn 4 they go. Green flag is in the air. And the ARCS Southern 250 is underway.
Coming out the back stretch here, everyone just getting relatively stable here. You can see a little infighting there. A little car loose.
Trouble. That was Proudfoot, yeah.
Yep, Proudfoot.
Everyone got around him.
Wide. Yep, everyone's going to scoot around him. Not a good start for that number 22. Highest of the non-playoff drivers. Looking to place boy, but right now, back foot. There's Withers, a playoff driver, kissing the wall. Another car loose there. That's Seth Wansing.
But they
all
that
Miller Lights team. Yep. We know Seth Wansing felt like that Miller Lights team gave him some good momentum and good gusto when he won his one race a little bit back. And now kind of behind the pace here.
Whoa, trouble car around. That's Patrick Oberstadt.
Yep, Patrick Oberstadt.
And again, like they're keeping it green here, single car.
Yep.
Only one car around. That's traditional ARCS rules there. If it's only a single car spin, where if there's only one car that's come to a slowdown, they will keep it going. They will keep it green as long as it's not blocking the track. Everyone got through just fine, so they keep it going here. Gaiman leads over Michelle, Reynolds, and Sears in this track, proving to be very slippery early on in the contest.
They get a little bit easier when the lights go down, the night comes out just a tad, but that's not going to be as easy as one would hope. Battle for second there forming Tommy Reynolds, Daniel Michelle. Michelle's been a bit of a, I wouldn't say a surprise, but one of the strongest rookie of the season so far between two veterans of the series, right in front and right behind. And he's trying to make that 25 kind of strong here to give himself a good starting position here. Gets a good run at 61, kind of boggles up the track here. But the 25 is going to have to be aggressive with the pass if he wants it. Maybe try to bully his way through here. Going to send it in a bit deep. Could try to clear the 61, and he will. And the 61, we'll see if he can switch back.
And keep in mind, this is the Darlington, this is the Southern 250. There's a little bit of a throwback theme for some cars. We had a theme night last weekend with some drivers running their college schemes. We saw the University of Cincinnati, University of North Carolina, the University of Ohio State, University of Michigan. Tonight we're seeing a little bit more of retro schemes. Someone has gone a little bit backwards here. That's Edward Marshall.
Yes, it is.
Who's come to a slowdown. I thought another car had swerved to the inside on the back straightaway. It may have been Marshall, but he is back on track here, running off pace. You see there's Bryn Robertson, another throwback scheme to Steve Park in the number one machine here tonight.
Going back just to quickly look, it was just Edward Marshall's single car on the inside. Oh, he did swerve up the racing surface, though, looking back, and almost clobbered Matthew Leiter and Austin Mongold. So luckily, all cars avoid. Emma Kruger was also in that pack as well.
Yeah.
So almost teammate-on-teammate violence there. But luckily, everyone avoided the car pinging back up the racing surface. We stayed green here on lap 7. And we got a bit of a 5-car breakaway here in this front pack with Michelle, Gaiman, Reynolds, Sears, and Feemster. Feemster, driver that kind of... was a driver that had to rely on points last week to get in, barely got through, and now is looking at least kind of strong here at the very opening stages of laps.
You see the 25 machine, a throwback to the Brian Vickers era, the GMAC number 25 that Hendrick ran back in the late 2000s. So a good look there for him. I believe Tom Sears also running a little bit of a throwback. Not sure what that's a throwback for, but I know it's not a traditional paint scheme that he runs.
Oh, it kind of reminds me that, like, speaking of Brian Vickers, kind of reminds me a bit of that, those GMAC ones, those black ones from 05, but it may be a throwback to one of his own personal racing experiences from inside the series. I know Breo, if he was here tonight, did announce he had one of those paint schemes lined up from one of his own previous things, but sadly, due to conflict, he wasn't able to be here tonight. So, actually, sorry, it was a Tony Stewart Office Depot throwback from 2011. So, yeah. Anyway, though, as we kind of cut to the field here, you can see there's Matthew Leiter right now in tow with a battle with Austin Mongold in that 4 Mobile 1 throwback scheme.
Yeah.
And there's the 70 Emma Kruger.
Emma Kruger ahead of Seth Wansley, the 2-time series champion here in the A-Square Cup Series, as they've made their way back a little bit forward here. Both of them have gained spots from where they started. Wansley up 1 spot, Kruger up 5, having started in the back of the field. And then you have Tommy Withers running paint scheme that made it into the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. With Bubba Wallace behind the wheel, Tommy Withers obviously ecstatic with how Daytona went across the board. He's sitting right now in the 14th position ahead of Elvis George, who's running a little bit of a throwback scheme as well in that Pennzoil number 2. Bryn Roberts, so 2 Pennzoil cars, very distinct looking on the field, but both of them running a little bit further back than they want to early on in this contest. As back to the front of the field, it's Josh Gaiman taking the lead back away from Daniel Michelle, but Michelle leads at the line. Gaiman very successful here, won here in the HTL Cup Series in their playoffs last season, looking to do so again. It's a track that he looks at very fondly for very good reason, being this successful so far. Reynolds falling behind that of Tom Sears. I believe he may have gotten loose there out of turn 2, so he'll give up a spot to Sears. Again, for those new to A-Square Cup Series coverage here on ABN Esports 1, Stage 1 is on lap 50. At the end of lap 50, the top 10 score points in a 10-to-1 fashion. So if you're first, you score 10 points. If you're 10th, you score 1 point, so on and so forth. That is the only really significant chance at free points you have in the playoffs with the heats now gone. For those that have watched before and didn't catch qualifying, there are no more heats. The way you qualify now is the way you will start the race for the rest of the season. This is the way it was last season. It's the way it is this season as well. So qualifying now even more important because now there's less opportunity to sort of scavenge positions before the race begins. Yeah. So that's where we're at right now. Reynolds, typically one that was more unfortunate than lucky in those heats. Thankful that he didn't have to worry about that. He started this race in third, only down 1 spot so far in the 4th position. Looking at, however, championship contenders right ahead of him in the top 3.
Yeah. And we've talked about it week in and week out in that regard, where we've seen throughout the heats, kind of finish on the heat point here, is that we've seen it week in and week out, where a driver may have had a poor qualifying run and gained a lot of spots during the heats. So there's that element of being able to claw your way back up that is now kind of lost. So if you are a poor qualifier, you're not going to try to run it down the track. And at some tracks, that's not going to be a horrible feat to do. It's kind of easy on some of them, but on other tracks, you're going to have to really just get lucky or hope there's some quick cautions to really get yourself back up, rebunch the field. Because right now, if you're someone outside the top 10, we'll look at like Leiter, Kruger, Feather Place, for instance. The line for 10th is maybe a second up the road, but any high, like to the leader, you're 10 seconds back. So any chance of getting major points is very hard, at least in the first stage, because of a bit of a poor quality.
Looking at this top 5 as Galen gets loose out of turn 4. And now he's under threat from Tommy Reynolds, who's not only made his way back to the podium, but also made his way back to 2nd place in the number 7.
Yeah. And Tommy Reynolds are 5 wins on the season, looking to try to become one of the most winningest drivers in maybe a squared cup season, in the cup season right now. Is on pace to at least do it, and with the potential he's showing, but still obviously 10 races to go. Obviously it can happen. He wants to obviously win this race. He doesn't have to worry about the next 2 weeks. Same thing with Michelle, same thing with Gamesman, same thing with Feemster. You win this race, a bit of a sweat moment, kind of, all right, it's done. Nah, we just have fun the next 2 weeks.
Remember that each win is worth 5 bonus points in the next round, up until the final round, where everyone's on level footing.
Yep, at that point, just got to be the fastest of the 4 runners.
Reynolds defending from Gaiman there in the battle for 2nd place as they go through turns 3 and 4.
One more thing to note as well, as you can see it on the cars, if you're wondering who's a play driver or not, if you look on the left side of your screen there with the timing and scoring, you can see a red box indicates the driver in the playoffs. But if you got a bit more of a keen eye, if you look at the windshields of the playoff drivers, you can see a little bit of a purple banner. That also syndicates a driver in the playoffs. As Gaiman's going to make a move here right now, you can see on the little top screen there, Gaiman going to instantly make through. Reynolds not going to fight a little hard here for the B-Tron teammate, because he obviously don't want to wreck, because he's still got a Constructors and a Championship to focus on. Don't want to burn fast bit early. They'll do a little slip swap. Gaiman the 2nd, Reynolds the 3rd.
As he mentioned there, all the playoff drivers currently carrying purple highlights, the number banner, the spoiler there, where it's colored there on the back of the car, as well as the shark fin down the side, all purple, indicating playoff drivers on track visually here tonight.
It looks like you can see here as well, you can see the game getting an all right run here. He's on the corner panel right there, our race leader, Daniel Michel, and he's going to get a chance here to run. He wants his lead back. He was leading the opening laps, got passed by 25. And we know, I just kind of say this almost seems every broadcast, but there are some drivers that are good at making the tires work long, and there's some drivers that really don't succeed at that. Right now, Gaiman getting a good run. But Michel is a driver that's not as strong at getting the tires to last throughout a whole stage in comparison to the cars around him. He's got that speed, he's got that pace, but he just loses a little bit of pace by the end in comparison to other cars, and that's hurt him a little bit when it's come to stages. So right now that 25 is still leading the way as we're coming up on halfway, but those tires are going to be screaming out for changement before we get to the end of 50. And the question is, how well can the 25 hang on to that beast when he's got some good tire conservers in the 61 and the 7 in his mirror right now?
We're going to find out. We're close to the halfway in stage number 1 here. Again, as you look at the top 3 in your screen, nose to tail, it's Michel, then Gaiman, then Reynolds. Kevin Feemster sitting tightly in the 4th spot. Proudfoot's made his way back into the top 5. after falling all the way down to 13th at the beginning, having gotten loose and almost spun around on the opening lap. So Proudfoot made his way back forward, keeping on that 22 car to try to play spoiler. Because again, if a non-place driver wins, they don't automatically become playoff eligible. They just steal bonus points away from those drivers, and also prevents drivers from locking in one race. So Proudfoot looking to play spoiler.
Yep, they're just racing for pride, racing for the fun of it. Obviously, in some cases, some of these teams are racing for the chance of helping their team in the Constructors Battle, because there is a Constructors Battle going on with 3 teams fighting hard at the championship with Line Power, B-Tron, and Sunday Money Racing. President's Racing a bit of a shout away in 4th, but if Proudfoot can kind of carry the banner here, maybe get a win, could maybe bring them a little bit closer to trying to get to the top of that Constructors fight, as it still a very hard-fought battle. Top 2 breaking away from Tommy Reynolds in 3rd. Gap is grown to about half a second, 0.62 to be more precise. Feemster also losing a little bit of touch here, so you're seeing some separation on separation at the moment, as it's getting a little bit racy here. And again, I think Gaiman's just kind of sitting back right now, knowing doesn't need to force a move yet on lap 25.
Obviously, we're watching here as Michelle really tries to hold off Josh Gaiman here. You talked earlier about how Michelle, not the best at tire conservation. He's going to need to figure that out quickly here if he wants to try to win. This is a really good chance for him. But Josh Gaiman, obviously one of the best drivers here at this track, as they go through 3 and 4. You see just how much lower Gaiman's able to get there in the corner compared to Daniel Michelle. That will be an opening later on in this stage as they run, as they look. So really, this camera right above the press box here at Darlington gives you a good look all the way around the track at where Gaiman's really gaining on Michelle. And he's not trying to make that pass happen. He's staying right there in the bumper of the 25 and still gaining on Tommy Reynolds in the process. Reynolds now almost 3/4 of a second away.
Should be recognized watching this battle. Someone was speaking of kind of playoff points. There is a bit of a concern here at the very least. Brandon Featherplace currently down in 18th. Had to make an unscheduled pit stop on lap 17.
It was
lap
a fuel-only stop.
Yeah, fuel-only stop. Came in kind of unprovoked. Was kind of around 12th, 13th on the track around Tommy Withers' case. And then came in for fuel-only. Now 1 down. Obviously, if only car 1 down, would get his lap back at the moment right now with Edward Marshall kind of within striking distance of the leader pack here, as you'll see, as he's caught and starting the start-finish line now, and there are race leaders crossing it now. There's a good chance Edward Marshall, Alfred George get caught before the end of the stage, so it's a bit of a concern. Obviously, he could take the wave around, but then he'll be in a bad spot for stage 2. So our regular season points champion at the moment, not looking good at the very least, kind of stumbled out of the blocks for a bit of a weird unscheduled stop on lap 18 for fuel only. But right there, back up front, you can see Tommy Reynolds has caught back up to this 2-car tandem here. And it looks like Gaiman maybe sensing the pressure here, thinks he's going to send the move here, knowing Reynolds is kind of filling the mirrors a little bit more, so he needs to put the heat on the 25.
Yeah, I think Reynolds was trying to back off a little bit so he could get a decent run going again. I think that's going to be what happens here so far in the early running. He's already back to half a second. And now it's one of those things where Josh Gaiman, I think, needs to try to think about making a pass here. Reynolds has been near unstoppable there. Michelle got loose out of 4.
Yep. Oh, he's going to come up and clear himself there, which he had the space, so it's no harm, no foul. But getting a little bit loose like that too many times, not going to play favors too long. And now, again, they're going to catch lap traffic here in Edward Marshall, and with it being kind of a very argy-bargy racetrack at the best times, where it's basically 1.5 grooves at best. How well can the 25 and the 61 navigate that traffic? Because Marshall has no reason to impede if he wants. He's at 61 still hanging corner panel, but obviously going to come back behind here to get a good draft set for something else up.
See that they're both going to get there on Edward Marshall, and lap traffic will play a factor. Marshall going to try to not go a lap down. That would not go well. There's a car coming down to pit lane. That is Patrick Oberstadt. That is off track at the moment. So Oberstadt will go a lap down quickly here.
Yep, and looks like...
See if we can look at what might have happened here.
It looks like he got disqualified. It looks like it may have been a black flag because I heard him talking something on radio about black flag, and now it looks like he got DQ'd. So something happened. Looks like now the black flag's been cleared by control. So, yeah, very weird situation in that regard. So we'll keep an eye on him in that regard. But right now, back to the point, Edward Marshall, I was going to say, is Edward Marshall now one down. The problem is he can't rest on his laurels here because the next car up the road is Alf George, who's within distance, as you'll see here. There's the 41 exiting the pit lane, so he will be back on the racing surface, obviously 3 down. But Marshall now had to right the fight, and now his next competition for the Lucky Dog is that 2 up the road here. But it looks like the 61 is going to make a move here. He's going to have to run. He's got the angle. He could clear up if he so chooses. Michelle hits the wall, and Gaiman doesn't come up right away. Now he successfully will, so the lead will go back to the 61, as 25 will fall to second.
16 laps to go in stage 1 here in Darlington, the Southern 250. Here on Saturday night for the A-Square Cup Series. The first time the A-Square Cup Series is run on a Saturday evening. I know it's a bit unusual that we're watching A-Square Cup Series competition here on Saturday evenings. Tomorrow, the Saturday Night Showdown takes place on Sunday evening at Milwaukee.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting to get my head wrapped around there.
Mm-hmm. Very odd indeed, because there's been other Sunday night races. They've not elected to do that. So it's very, very weird. But, hey, they want to do something special for Labor Day weekend? Well, they certainly have by flipping the dates. So, anyway, a little bit further back, I think that was Tommy Reynolds.
That was Reynolds attacked the wall, yeah.
Yep. Obviously, 2 back behind 2 lap cars, kind of wanting to stay this top 2 here. Firmly in third, got a 2-second gap over Kevin Feemster, but doesn't want to kind of sit too long and get past there. Alfred George going to let Marshall go, or actually just got loose there.
I think he just got loose. I don't think that was intentional.
Yeah, I don't think, because I was about to say, it's a battle for the Lucky Dog, so I don't think he was going to let him go without a fight. So
Reynolds again just tagged the wall. Yeah, pit stops happening here.
So no car can make it to the end of the stage here. So that may be
a blessing for Federal Place, who may have caught a shot there.
Maybe.
And got it right.
He took fuel only, though, so those tires are going to be screaming at him because
everyone's going to be taking fuel only, I think, here in this stanza.
Probably. And then come and take tires. We'll get our kind of indication here. Reynolds stays out. So Gavin, Michelle, Feemster, Proudford, and Wanzing all come in.
Yeah, it's Reynolds, Wright, Sears, and Oberstadt currently that have stayed out here. It's that long trek down pit lane.
Mm-hmm. Checking the intervals here. 5-second stop for Danny Michelle. 7 seconds for Josh Gaiman. So Michelle's actually going to jump.
Yeah, Michelle took the least amount of fuel of anybody there.
Mm-hmm. He's basically going to get himself just barely to the end of the stage and not a lap more. Gaiman getting himself probably a little bit more comfortable into the stage. Everyone else, though, 5-7. And Feather Place, even though won't gain much in this regard, he will get his lap back when everyone cycles through. But remember, he was battling Tommy Withers when the pit stops happened. So we'll keep that in mind when everything cycles through here and see in regard where that 34 slots in. Because right now, if not, like, Oberstadt just came in as well, so I'm assuming everyone has to pit. But, yeah, everyone's going to have to pit, so we'll just see how it all plays out.
Yeah, Oberstadt coming down pit lane there. There's Reynolds in the 7. See what he can do. Mm-hmm. David Wright there in the 42. Then Tom Sears and Tommy Withers.
Mm-hmm. Sadly, no bonus points for leading a lap, so just leading a lap, trying to just maybe hope for a caution or something to try to pin these cars one down is the only element of strategy here. They're getting a little racy for 5th. I saw Emma Kruger, Brendan Roberts, all behind right there.
Yeah, they're behind Feather Place.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Withers. Again, Withers is not yet pit, so he's technically a lap ahead. Reynolds comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So Reynolds in pit lane now. Does anyone else in this top 5 blink? I don't believe so. Oh, Kruger just tagged the wall.
That's going to upset the car. That was not a kiss. That was a smack. And it's going to allow Bren Roberts to get a good run here. Hopefully she didn't. She hit it flush, it looked like, but that's going to at least be ill handling this a little bit.
Got to hold on for the next 9 laps. David Wright stays out another lap. 8 laps to go. In stage 1, David Wright closed off the regular season 6 days ago with a fairy tale finish to the season, a race win at Daytona. To not only keep him in the playoff hunt, he'd already won a race prior to that at Richmond, but to give himself some extra bonus points into a round of 16. And right now, he's going to come down pit lane, try to keep it nice and tidy.
Now, honestly, makes me wonder if some of these cars here, if they wait the longest they can. Obviously, it may not be the smartest to take 4 tires, but if you take 4 tires here, at least on the element is, at the very least, is that you would
you don't want to spend the extra. You don't want to spend the extra 8 seconds, I think, on pit lane.
And I was about to say that the reverse of though is if you go a lap down, then it's all for naught. So it's only a smart choice if you think you can come out on the lead lap, and you don't care about stage points. But for most of these drivers, yeah, most drivers in the playoffs, they would need the stage points.
I'm curious about this right now. Sears is pretty renowned for being a fuel saver at the uncanniest of times. He did a lot of fuel saving here last year. I wonder if that's what he's doing here to try to get those extra 6 laps of fuel. Again, some drivers pit early. Some drivers still have not yet pit. Withers and Mongold come in now.
Yeah, I can hear him cutting the engine on the straights. Like, he's got it slowed in certain spots. You can just hear him cut the engine. He's clutching. So he's saving. Because just at the end there, he cut it down to slow RPMs. Now he's up to 71 and 73. And now he should cut it here. Yep, he's cutting it right now. So he's cutting it entering corners. So he's got the ability to, because the next drivers behind him are all on the same strategy. Roberts, Leiter, and Marshall have all yet to pit. Michelle 22 seconds back. So he's got the space to do this over the next 5 laps. So we'll come into 4 laps to go. Tom Sears looking for a stage win potentially. Yeah. Again, I'm just keeping an eye on the other ones. Like, he's cutting it way before too. Like, he's hit 2,000 RPM and then hitting the quarter entry, while the other cars are getting a lot more. Like right there, as soon as he got past the start finish straight, he was down to 4,000, 3,000 RPMs. So he is definitely, and again, like you said, he's got the gap to make that work. It's a hard task, but at the very least, he's got a few cars pinned down at the moment. Obviously, Reynolds just unlapped himself, but he's got Feemster, Wanzing, Wright, Proudfoot. If he gets stage points and pins at least a few competitive cars, 1 down, he'll gain those spots too. So it's a smart choice if he can make it work. I believe that car coming up on him is that of Kevin Feemster trying to get his lap back. He should be able to do so here as Sears saves fuel. Yeah, he's not going to fight here. Fighting costs fuel, and fuel he doesn't want to burn. And right behind that, couldn't cleanly get around though that time by. He'll have to wait until 3 and 4. But he's going to have a little bit of help from behind here. That's to be a car that's, I believe, that is Patrick Oberstadt, I believe. Thank you. Yeah, Patrick Oberstadt kind of remember the scheme for a second there. Oberstadt obviously a couple down here pitted. There's Seth Wanzing in the Miller Lite scheme. 1, 2. He's just kind of putting the hand out the window. Go, go, go. And this is going to help. He's going to need their draft a little bit here. 2 laps to go in the stage. Pit lane is now closed, so he's now fully set on this unless he wants a penalty. Tom Sears, almost a year exact to the heroics that he used to win stage points. I believe here at Darlington exactly. Trying to do it again. Bren Roberts in the same boat. Same with Matthew Leiter and Edward Marshall. So Bren Roberts and Matthew Leiter, what a gain of stage points it would be for them if they can hold on. Leiter might lose top 3 here with Michelle on the charge, but white flag in stage 1. He's got a hungry 25 behind him. I think that's not going to be a spot he'll keep. He may be able to keep the top 5 though, because Gaiman's next closest too. So we'll see if he can hold 1 corner. But right now, Sears looking good at the moment. The only question is, will he have enough to get to the pit lane safely under the caution? We're going to find out of turn 4 to the start-finish line. Caution will come out. And Proudfoot there we go. Proudfoot barely make it on. Feather Place will get his lap back. So at the end of the day, a little bit of an unscheduled stop for 17, but he will get back on the lead lap. And a few cars will pin 1 down, including Oberstadt, Withers, Kruger, and George. They'll have to take the wave around at the moment. Now the question is for Sears, Roberts, and Leiter, do they have enough in the tank to get to the pit lane, or if they ran it close? And while we do this quickly to run down the stage, Sears, Roberts, Michelle, Leiter, Gaiman, Marshall, Reynolds, Feimster, Wanzing, Wright. That was your top 10. Leiter's out of fuel, so Leiter's going to have to take emergency service here. So he made it to 50 and not a lap more. He's in, so Leiter's taking emergency service. Sears and Roberts look like they'll be good for the pit stop window this time by. So yeah, that is a hefty 10 points for Tom Sears and Bren Roberts, who both have one win apiece for both of them. One winning at Atlanta, the other winning at Nashville. And in turn, can use this to their advantage to give themselves some extra points to kind of give themselves above the line. So everyone most likely coming on in here, pit, get tires and fuel, top on off for the next 50-lap stage. Yep, Sears, Roberts, Michelle, Gaiman, Marshall, Reynolds, Feimster, Wanzing, Wright, Proudfoot. All in. Cars staying out are the ones taking the wave around, and will probably pit. So now it's up to the virtual crews here to decide who gets out first. Okay, everyone taking 4 tires and fuel. Looks like a few cars on the race out here. And it's going to be Bren Roberts getting out first, followed by Josh Gaiman, and then Tom Sears. Looks like he took a bit of a damage repair there. 16-second stop for the man. Then Reynolds and a few others, as obviously time is going kind of flipping out here. Cars are going in. Gaiman, I think some cars go here. But yeah, Roberts, Sears are the first 2 off pit lane. As I'm trying to figure out what's going on with Josh Gaiman right now. As now he's back on this acceleration here, but he was very slow there. I guess he was waiting for a car to go.
All right, so while we're under caution here, give you a live look at points as they currently run. As Juice Cone in effect here. Just looking at how stage 1 checked out. That's how things have changed. Gaiman's moved provisionally to 2nd place in the standings. I had a Federer Place who did not score points in the stage. Federer Place down to 3rd. Big gainers already. Leiter already up to 10th. A live look at points as they run. Obviously, another stage really to go, and then obviously the race results at the end will really shake all of this up. But you'll see a live update of championship standings as they run. Big night already for some drivers.
Yeah.
Here we
Green
go.
flag is out, and here we go for stage number 2. Great launch by Roberts. Sears getting some help there from Tommy Reynolds to get him going.
Couple of throwbacks leading the way. Then it's Reynolds and Feemster side by side for third.
Oh,
Contact there. That was Kruger, who's still a lap down.
Looks like Reynolds may have had a little contact there. Oh, car around. That's Feemster. He's going to save it with some help from Wanzing. Everyone's avoiding it. Oh,
and they're going to keep it going.
Yeah.
Wow.
That looked like it could have won bad 3-ways from Sunday, yet everyone held it straight. And in turn, it's not going to help Feemster and Wanzing, but at the very least, we're green still.
Tom Sears back to the front of the field.
Yep.
Phenomenal save by both Feemster and Wanzing to keep that pointed at least somewhat in the right direction. It has thinned out the field yet again, and that's, I think, sort of helped the situation here, as it's prevented a lot of what could have been, you know, cluster cautions, that we like to call them, where you have cautions in bunches. You have cautions that breed cautions. You think about these large-scale accidents that we see typically at tracks like Darlington, where it is so difficult. They've prevented that from being an issue. Oberstadt in pit lane. The Patrick Oberstadt machine, the 41 car in pit lane.
Yep.
Not a good look there for the 41, struggling early on.
Yeah, he got that accidental black flag DQ, put him a couple down. Looks like it was an 11-second pit stop. Obviously, may have been a situation, even though he did come in late on the first stop, makes you wonder exactly, maybe for tires, it's an 11-second stop, so maybe to feel comfortable driving around on the old rubber, but it's going to put him even farther back in the hole here, as there's going to be another lap added to that, and maybe one more before it's all said and done.
Right on board with Brendan Roberts here, and kind of give you a look as to why it's so difficult here at Darlington. As you can tell on the track map, it's not a symmetrical oval. It's, I believe it's 1 and just over 1/3 mile. I think it's 1.336 miles. So it's a very interesting layout. It's really defined by its topography. Just outside of turns 1 and 2, there is a lake. That obviously they couldn't build over at the time. This track was built, I believe, in the 1940s, 1950s. So this track, a bit older, as Roberts tags the wall just a little bit there through turns 1 and 2. But you'll see how different both sides of the track are. Turns 1 and 2 are wider. Turns 3 and 4 are more banked but narrower. So it really forced how this track was designed based off the lake down the back straightaway. And you'll also notice, despite the fact that like there's no really defined boundary here, drivers run the top of the track. Below that hash mark, that dotted white line, the track gets a lot flatter. You can run down there, but your car's not going to feel that great, especially in these flat underfloors that we have in the Gen 7 machines. Not very fond of running that flat of a track here.
Yeah, no, not the biggest fans of that. 100% indeed. Yeah, Brendan, keeping honest with Tom Sears here, just giving you kind of good run here, but again, being like you were saying, it's odd shape, being a 1.5 lane track here. You have to be very kind of a conviction to make a move, and you got to be willing to send it and slide it up in order to get the spot, if so chose.
I just heard Reynolds is cutting off the throttle here. So Reynolds and Sears may be in the fuel save mode already.
I think Reynolds kind of saw what happened and realized, okay, 50 is hittable. I don't think, maybe in a situation he didn't think about it. He's like, oh, yeah, everyone will pit. And then Sears made it work along with Roberts and Leiter. Leiter obviously had to take emergency service, so that's why he's down to 9th, able to kind of avoid some gas, get back in the top 10. But regardless, he now kind of knows, like, okay, if this is what I got to do, I can make it and get some valuable stage points to make himself further above the line and then race to the finish. Obviously, if it stays green flag in between. So obviously, learn from the veteran and kind of dictate what you need to do for stage 2. And it makes me wonder if more cars may elect to try that. Because we saw it can be done, and we see it can work to perfection. So now the question is, how do you want to approach this?
Here, Tom Sears also saving fuel here, and they are leading the way in this early stage.
The one positive is the checkups with them saving fuel is checking up Roberts, who's checking up Proudfoot, who's checking up Reynolds, who's checking up everyone. So in turn, because not one car, like a handful of cars are running away and you're kind of getting involved in the chase, with Sears setting the tone here, he's kind of dictating if you get caught up, you can turn kind of cut the throttle too and follow the leader, if you will. So right now it's kind of helping Reynolds and Proudfoot in a sense because they don't have to be as aggressive because they know, hey, those two cars ahead, they made it to the end. We've made it 50 laps, and this is going to be a little less than 50 just because of the caution, a few extra caution laps. So they made it safely to 50 and one over. This is how you do it. All right, game on. Let's just follow them, kind of cut the throttle, make sure we don't catch up too much, don't fall back too much, and we should be able to make it successfully through.
But that also will throw things for a loop in the final stanza because that's going to be an 83 lap run.
Mm-hmm.
Or 84, but
yeah. And then that raises the question, obviously, if we go the earliest they pitted, which was around 35, 40, going as hard as they can, that's obviously a one stop to the finish. You can go a little bit extra and save a little bit, but obviously you lose time. So you're going to see that be more clear, at the very least, split it halfway down the middle, 40, and then another 40-ish to finish, with a little bit of saving if necessary. But yeah, it's element strategy. Obviously, we'll get there when we get there. Obviously, stage 3 can deal cautions. But right now, Sears still leads the way, and in turn, kind of helping his foes, if you will, just a little bit.
Yeah, I think everyone here in this top 4 all in the same strategy column here. Gaiman and Michelle trying to catch up to this top 4. Looking a little bit further back here. 61 and the 25 were battling for the race lead early on in this race. They ended up not being anywhere close to the race lead by the end of stage 1. Missed out on some very valuable and lucrative stage points. So now here they are trying to catch up to the top 4. Michelle just set the fast lap of the race not too long ago. Better Play sitting in 7th, looking for his first stage points of the night as they run. With 31 laps to go in the stage. And keep an eye, there's the 23 of Withers being passed by the 83 of Lighter, not for position.
Yeah, no, I was just about to bring that up. We should keep an eye on is Withers right now is the current lucky dog. Yep. He's got about a 2-second gap right now over Steven Oberstadt, and a little bit more of a gap there. I think a little bit more in turn of that.
Car coming down pit lane. It's Elfridge George.
Yeah, Elfridge George, he pit on 47. Looks like that car has been through the ringer at least a little. So you'll stop. We'll see what he does for him. But kind of fits my point. Withers right now is the lucky dog. Stefan Oberstadt is about 2 back, 3 back on that. Emma Kruger's about 5 back. And they're all fighting for the lucky dog. Because if we don't get a caution, then in turn, they're fighting to try to get back on the lap that way. Because obviously you'll have to pit in order to get fuel. So they're just trying to they're racing to get back on the lead lap and fight for the win.
We'll see how it looks here as laps continue to tick away. Halfway point of this race is lap 92.
Yep. So if we get any virtual rain, that would be the official point, but obviously no rain in iRacing.
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, Proudfoot, obviously Roberts has got passed by 2 cars there, as we've seen kind of in the long shot here. Roberts falling down the 4th. Proudfoot isn't obviously not fighting for the playoffs here, not really caring about stage points. He's really here just to get the win. Makes me wonder if he wants that lead instead.
And makes you wonder if Sears will let him have it.
Yeah.
Being behind another car, that draft will help a significant amount in saving some fuel. But I also have to wonder if Proudfoot's maybe on that idea of I don't have to save. So how viable is it really going to be for him?
Yeah, watching top speed, you can see it looks like they're running same kind of speed at the moment here, cutting at the same points. Obviously, with draft and whatnot, obviously playing a bit of a factor. But there's no real major lifting at the moment from Sears or Proudfoot. Proudfoot isn't aggressively running into the corner. And actually, it looks like he's cutting just a little earlier than Sears is. So Proudfoot is, if he is saving, he's doing the same thing Sears is, basically. So if Sears is saving, Proudfoot's saving.
And you'll notice that there are now officially 5 cars in this battle for the lead. And according to the battle box, it should be 6 because Gaiman's not far behind either. But all 6 are now, they've accordioned enough to get to each other here.
Yep. Oh yeah, that Proudfoot cut the throttle aggressively there. So I'm listening on board. he is definitely in a save mode right now. So he is not in the contention. He wants the lead. He's happy in second right now because he can use that as a draft and ensure he can get to the end. Daniel Michelle and Gaiman, though, have had to kind of run up through the field here, though, so they have definitely not been in a saving kind of mood. They've wanted to get back up here, so they've been pushing hard, at the very least.
Yeah, we'll see what it looks like here as Michelle gets around. That is Bryn Roberts with ease. Michelle not saving at all, and that's what that looks like.
Ooh, just kiss that wall, though, a ton. Light touch, but he'll keep it at least in position. He'll be back to fourth.
I think Gaiman's gotten close enough where he has started saving in this process. I believe he's gotten close enough to where he can. And again, you're not saving the 10 laps of fuel you had to save at the beginning. You can save 4 or 5 and be okay, but Michelle's not saved really much of anything here.
No. Because, yeah, Gaiman, because you can hear, Gaiman's not cutting it as much, but yeah, you can see as I'll watch here again here on perspective to the 25 here. He's running hard throttle down, and where people are usually cutting, and he's keeping throttle all the way to about corner exit. So entry, I should mean. So unlike Proudfoot, Reynolds, and Sears, who are cutting the throttle out before corner entry a little bit, he is pushing it hard at RPMs until he's in the corner. So yeah, he's not saving one iota.
Interestingly, the lap times have stabilized out.
Oh, wait, Proudfoot just got a little loose there. Sorry to cut you off. Proudfoot, you can see down at the bottom there. Reynolds will gain the spot, but Proudfoot got a little loose.
RXC pit lane is that of Elvis George. To Machine. We saw him enter pit lane a little bit ago. He is staying out of the way of the race leaders. Sitting 17th place at the moment, not in the playoffs. Not wanting to get into the playoff driver's way. As we keep an eye on Daniel Michelle. Last time around, it slowed everyone up there a little bit. Proudfoot, the slowest of the top 5. Really have to go all the way down to the third place, who ran a little bit slower lap time. But outside of that, everyone running consistent lap times at the moment. Everyone stabilized out despite the fact that Michelle's not doing any saving. He has now lost his advantage.
And the thing is, even though he's pushing hard, he's kind of in a situation where, again, being so hard to pass, he's getting close, but yeah, just not in a runge enough to really make it happen. He's not getting the runs he needs to get set up to make passes. He's kind of struggling a little bit to handle that car, at least a little bit. Like you just saw there out of 2, he got a little loose. He's got a little fought off exit, and that killed any run he had set up for something here. Yeah, he's not getting the runs off corners he needs. Everyone's mostly, for the most part, spaced out here. Everyone's kind of just running their own races here. Lighter looks like he is real. Obviously, it's the closest thing we have on track here. This big battle we have for second. A little bit further back, we have Lighter kind of reeling down right, separated by at least half a second. And Feemster and Marshall, obviously, second by half a second as well. If they're speaking of Lighter, there he is. You can see right there trying to reel down the car ahead, which is David Wright, right there, that black and red machine. And then Tommy Withers obviously behind, currently the Lucky Dog, who has a 4-second lead over the next car, 1 down. But back up to the front here. There's Tom Sears. There's Tommy Reynolds getting a little bit of distance to Proudfoot here. There's Proudfoot. Speaking of Proudfoot, he's in 3rd. And Daniel Michelle right behind in 4th with the lap car, Alfred George. Actually, that's Brent Roberts. Sorry, Alfred George a little bit further in distance. That's Brent Roberts, Josh Gaiman, 5-6, all in this little pack.
Approaching 16 laps to go in stage 2. Tom Sears looking to try to sweep the weekend. Trying to get both stages and the race win. Tom Sears' best driver, or favorite driver, I should say, Martin Truex Jr. He's got some success here at Darlington Raceway. Sears trying to emulate that here tonight. It'll be his 3rd win in the ARCS World Cup Series. His last one came at Atlanta back in July. If he can win tonight, it'll arguably be his most successful season in the series. Austin Mongol in pit lane, number 4 car. We'll drop down to 17th here in this pit stop cycle with 15 laps to go in stage 2. Car is moving around a little bit further back. Michelle getting passed by Bryn Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
So how the tables turn.
Yep.
And there's Josh Gaiman, not far behind.
Yeah, makes me wonder if maybe he burned his stuff up at least a little bit. Because remember, he was far back on the restart. He was in the top, outside the top 10, or was in the top 10 when we started the restart for the second stage. And he had to claw his way from about 7 seconds back all the way to here now. So it makes me wonder if he burned his stuff up just a tad, trying to get up here. And now that and the fuel concerns are all rearing their ugly head at the moment.
Michelle stays in the 5th position as Bryn Roberts tries to charge his way forward, and Wolguso takes 3rd at the line from the 22 of Proudfoot.
Yep.
So Line Power, B-Tron, and Sunday Money all on the podium places at the moment. Presidential sitting in 4th, then Sunday Money's 2nd driver in 5th with Daniel Michelle.
Yeah, and right now, a good chance for Sunday Money Racing to get some good points in the Constructors. Tom Sears, obviously, with Line Power leading the way, and Tom Sears leading the way. So good points for said Line Power, but Sunday Money Racing and B-Tron kind of stacking the deck next to 2, 3, 5, and 6, respectively, securing some good points to try to close that gap for the leading constructor car. Or constructor team, I should say. If it's a little loose, they're off-exit fight in the wheel there. And it feels like it may be quick moving here from Michelle and Gaiman. Really stacked up here, getting better runs off exit. Looks like Michelle feels like it's time to make the pressure. He's going to get on the outside of that number 22.
Proudfoot's not going to be too much of a hold up there. Realize that the game was up and will drop down to 6th place. And Michelle and Gaiman once again unleashed for this final 11 lap stanza in stage 2.
Again, where they pretty much finished stage 1. Looks like Gaiman wants to get a little bit more of a point here. And I'm kind of cut through the cars here as well. Looks like Sears, Reynolds, Roberts at the very least, they've hit the number they need to hit, as they are now pretty much going full throttle into the corners now, mostly. Maybe a tight little bit of save, but they're pretty much gloves off here a little bit more than they were at the start of this thing. It looks like Gaiman gonna have a move here on the inside of Michelle, and he will get the spot gain. So put the spot 1 up for Michelle. Gaiman, Michelle down 1, and now Michelle gonna have to fend off Proudfoot to keep his spot in the top 5. Looks like Patrick Oberstadt's going to pit here. He is 5 down, so maybe not ill-effective to the other cars' strategy, but at the very least is worth noting. Now, one thing I do want to bring up here is laps are ticking away here right now. Tom Sears is slowly reeling in Kevin Feemster. And the reason that's a little bit important right now is because Tommy Withers is currently the lucky dog at the moment. If Sears catches Feemster, Feemster will then transfer to the lucky dog instead, keeping Withers from getting that and having to possibly take the wave route. So, bit of a gamesmanship here at the moment. If Feemster can stay on, Withers would get it. If not, the spot would go to Feemster for the lucky dog in this regard.
Here, the more that we get closer to the end of stage 2, the more the engine cuts come in. Tom Sears seems pretty well set here, a second ahead of Bryn Roberts, who's made his way back to the top 2. Just as they were in stage 1. Reynolds, however, now in tow, in 3rd place, ahead of Gaiman and Michelle. Coming to 5 to go in the stage.
A little bit racy, a little bit back here. You do also got a battle forming between Wright and Leiter again, as Leiter's really reeled in that machine there. There's David Wright there in regard. Both 7th, 8th, and 9th respectively. Leiter, again, kind of relying on the miracle he got the fight for this playoff. David Wright, last week's winner, took the miracle of surviving the chaos. So 2 miracle kids fighting for stage points here for both 3 and 2 respectively. And Leiter seems to have just a little bit faster of a car at the moment. He's getting the runs, but just can't really find a way to fit him through.
We have our first tournament of the race, and that is that of Austin Mongol, the 4 machine out after 85 laps tonight.
Hold on. We may want to go back to the lead here. Roberts is reeling in Tom Sears at the moment. He is gloves off at the moment, and you can just see he's gained 8 tenths. He's going for the lead here. He wants those 10 whole points for his tally, and he's getting that Steve Park 1, and he's wheeling it around Darlington.
And again, everything changes in stage 3 because the strategy calls change in that stage.
Yeah, you can go
3
hard
to
out
go.
there and pit and kind of cut the stage in half. So not as much saving required.
See what it looks like here with 3 laps to go in the stage. Sears and Reynolds and Roberts taking it on, with Reynolds watching in 3rd. In case something goes wrong, like what that could have been right there. Both of them tied the wall. Sears leads with 2 to go in stage 2.
Sears is going to have the fight of his life. He wants to sweep the stages. He's going to have to be kind of strong here.
Sears leading Roberts as they'll go side by side down here in the turns 3 and 4. Roberts to the point. Does he get clear through 3 and 4? I don't know. It's going to be close. Sears gets loose.
Oh, and
1
Sears
to go in the stage.
off of a spot here to Tommy Reynolds. Reynolds going to take second, so Sears, again, pushing hard there. Looks like he may have ran just a little late here. And Roberts going to be sailing to the stage here.
Sears down to 3rd. It'll be Bryn Roberts that wins the stage. Coming out of 4. Stage brake will come out, and that car is sputtering. Caution comes out.
Now the question is, can they make it around 1 whole lap before emergency service?
That's the goal, and you'd imagine with the least amount of time available that would be a little bit friendlier, but we will find out how this one goes.
Yep, keep an eye on the pit lane here to see if anyone pulls off. Looks like Roberts feels comfortable. Looks like Sears, Reynolds, both good to go 1 more lap. Gaiman will be good too. Kind of cut it low there, but he will be good for 1 more here. Looks like everyone will not have to take emergency service here. They have made it that 1 extra lap they need, and will be able to pit. Oh, David Wright has run out of fuel.
Really close to the end there.
So David Wright will take an DOL here. We'll have to start in the back, and we'll be sputtering to the pit lane here. But everyone else will successfully make it. And now it's up to the virtual crews.
Seeing pit stops take place on your screens here. Bryn Roberts wins the battle off pit lane as he entered. Same with Reynolds and Sears, where they enter pit lane, they will leave pit lane. Michelle in 4th will gain time over Josh Gaiman, as did Brandon Proudfoot in that process. Again, looking at points as they currently run now after 2 stages, Reynolds holds on to the lead of the championship standings. Gaiman extending just a little bit more there over Fetter Place with those extra stage points there. Remember that Fetter Place did not score points in stage 1. Both of them scored points in stage 2. So Fetter Place holds on to 3rd place in the standings. Daniel Michelle sitting in 4th place, level with Fetter Place, but losing the tiebreaker because of the regular season championship. Brendan Roberts in 5th, Sears in 6th. As you look again further on down, 3 cars not taking the start of tonight's race. Purnell, Austin Purnell, Ryan Purnell, and Jeremy Breo. Emma Kruger yet to score stage points, but will have obviously race points here at the end of this one that will move her into the battle, the conversation for the top 12 here after tonight. But no stage points, definitely hurting. As you can see, a lot of positions changing for those that have had it and those that haven't tonight.
Yeah. And that's not going to be helpful for some. Like Austin Purnell, obviously Ryan Purnell not here. Emma Kruger, though, only one in that 4-pack that did not get some stage points. So luckily, again, she'll be able to get some points, but in turn, it's not a good hole to be in at the very least. You want to get as many points as you can because you never know when you'll need them next 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
So choose, and in fact, you can see cars going high and low. If that car takes the wave round, it's going to be Roberts and Reynolds first row here. And then it's going to be Sears and Proudfoot row number 2. Then row number 3 is going to be, I believe, it's going to be Leiter and Shell. 4 is going to be Fetter Place and Gaiman. And row 5 is going to be David Wright. I believe that's David Wright. And it's going to be Kevin Feemster. So we'll have 13 cars on lead lap. Emma Kruger, Stefan Oberstadt will be 1 down. Alfred George and Patrick Oberstadt will be 4 and 5 down. Austin Mountain Gold, only car out of this race. We've had 2 opening laps with a bunch of cars having to take evasive action on the first 2 stages. Will we have that on stage 3? We're about to find out as the pace car takes the left into the pit lane. And it's going to be on Bren or Roberts' control. Ooh, Proudfoot. Quick cut up there. Michelle probably not going to be too thrilled with that. It looks like he came across the nose. Everyone else, though, single file for the most part here, all the way back. Battle for second, though, rages on. As Reynolds going to get the drag off here. Looks like Proudfoot may try to follow suit.
As we mentioned before, the strategy is going to change dramatically in this conversation now that we're in stage 3.
Oh, Gaiman in the wall. Gaiman hits it hard.
Gaiman stuck in the wall.
Yeah, he was angled hard. Looks like Michelle also hits it a little bit later, but that's not as big as Gaiman just... Oh, Gaiman's bad luck's going to continue here at the very least, as that is going to have to probably be a pit stop here, and he's going to go at least 1 down. So the bad luck continues for the 61.
Huge trouble there for Josh Gaiman. The 61 car, excuse me.
Yeah,
not having a great time of it. And trouble there for Kevin Feemster, who's also spun. That's out of 4.
Yeah, self-spin. He's making sure. Oh, no, he got some help.
So
yeah, we'll take a look
what
at the
happened
replay
here. Fetter Place struggling here. This is Fetter Place getting around, I think, Josh Gaiman at the restart.
Again, it's going to be coming up corner 1 next lap by, so let the lap kind of play out here.
Yeah.
Big
Ben
train
Roberts.
here.
Robert's in the lead of the race at the moment. Oh.
Yeah, that car just got loose on his own. He tried to save it, and it just boomed into the wall. So that was just a save gone wrong. And then you're going to see with Feemster here. It's going to be coming out of 4 here. Wanson's going to get around, but that's not going to be where the issue lies.
Oh, he gets a loose there.
And then David Wright just went low, was low, and Feemster had nowhere to go. So Feemster kind of just got loose trying to save it. Wright was there and got turned around. So Brad Roberts still leads the way. We're getting a little bit race here for third as Reynolds was able to get around Michelle while we were watching that replay. And you can see in the distance there, Michelle.
Whoa, better place around.
Oh, yep.
Keys are pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, no help for that 34. Loss on his own, too. Kind of similar to what happened to Gaiman. This looks like he didn't hit it as hard. So he will power on here. No pit stop for that 34. Look at that train behind Tom Sears there. As Michelle looks like he's going to go up the second here. And Michelle will clear. Just seeing the distance there. Michelle gets around. Sears falling down here kind of aggressively. He's going to lose 2 more spots here. Proudfoot pushing the 7 hard here. So it's all gone wrong for Sears. He was in second. Now he's been swallowed by the pack. And now he can get passed by Wansing too. As Wansing and that Miller Lite machine is going to get around the 14 as well.
Michelle out to second place here. Back where he started. Reynolds in third ahead of Brandon Proudfoot.
Yeah, Sears just got swallowed there by the pack. He had a big train behind him. One little slight mistake, and it turned allowed Michelle, then Reynolds, then Proudfoot, and then it turned all kind of past him going into 1, and then it turned Wansing kind of finished the move there. So Sears down to 6. He's good at saving, but seems to be at least maybe not the fastest car out here tonight, but at the very least good at saving. Yeah, you can see right there, the battle for third rages on as Proudfoot hammering the back of that 7. You can just see right there, just in the foreground there, just ahead of Wansing. Proudfoot looks like he's just a little bit faster at the moment. Again, cars, if you're coming in here first, joining us, you're in stage 3 right now. If a car has a red indicator on the timing and scoring pylon on the top left, they are currently locked into the playoffs. Or not locked playoffs, but are in the playoffs right now, fighting for a championship. And if they have a black indicator to the right of their name, to their left of their name, they are not in the playoffs and looking to play spoiler and just out here for some fun. Our only driver inside the top 10 right now playing to play spoiler is the 22, a Proudfoot for Presidential Racing. Also, if you are watching right now, this battle rages on. There is a poll right now in the chat where you can predict who you think will win the ARCS Southern 250 right now. Handful of choices in that poll, so make your voices known. You got a couple, at least a handful of minutes to decide who you think will win this race.
Laps ticking away here at Darlington, firmly under the lights now as we look at Seth Wansing in the 5th position, up 9 spots so far in tonight's race. He is the driver with the biggest gains tonight, up 9 spots. Next closest would be Brandon Fetterplace, up 5 from his starting position in this race. Right on board with him in the 9 car as he looks ahead at Brandon Proudfoot and Tommy Reynolds. You see how spread out it is now with 65 laps to go.
Remember, still one stop schedule for these cars. They can cut it kind of in half here, pit around 140, 145 range, and should be good to go to finish. Just see up in the distance there, you can just see Proudfoot and Reynolds there fighting hard. And in turn, it looks like Proudfoot finally, it looks like he's going to make a move here. He's been kind of poising it the past couple laps, just how much he was pushing the gearbox of the 7, and the 22 of Proudfoot will get the job done. So now Proudfoot up to the podium position, currently in 3rd, and now Wansing going to get a good run here on the 7-2, but a bit too far back to really make a lunge. Right now, Brent Roberts still leading the way here. 4 seconds clear of Michelle and 5 seconds clear of this little battle we're watching. Ooh, someone just hit the barrels, I think. I think it was Alfred George. Yeah, going back, look at the check here. Yep, Alfred George hit the barrels hard. Somewhere, I don't know how Denny Hamlin missed pit lane. He was pitting for a scheduled stop, it looks like. And he ends up hitting the barrels, knocking the hood off. So, Alfred George going to be in the pit lane for a wee bit. But anyway, though, you can see Michelle, Wansing, I should say, as we're riding aboard here with still Wansing as all of this has been going down. Kind of just chipping away here at Tommy Reynolds. Proudfoot has caught Michelle, by the way. He has left Reynolds in the dust. Oh, and look at that. Wansing gets a run here. I think that's
why Reynolds is losing the back of that car a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We'll take a look here at what happened to Alvis George.
Yeah, I saw him pull off there, and then Leiter chimed up. He hit the barrels. Ooh, did not have the speeds right at all there. Drifted a little bit too wide and just clips the barrels, and that's going to be a tow to the pit lane.
Absolutely.
And
Proudfoot getting around Daniel Michelle.
Mm-hmm. Up the second he goes. So Proudfoot finding that late speed here. Trying to be the spoiler. It's 4.4 back on Roberts right now. Big ass. Try to reel that in right away, but at the pace he's going, he is running a tenth faster than Roberts last time by. Now obviously with some clean track, we'll see if those intervals continue to fall. Looks like Emma Kruger coming in for a pit stop here. Really one down, but they're unscheduled as would not comfortably get her in on a stop to the finish here. So that 7 machine is going to have to pit again in order to finish this race. I was right now not a good night for that 70. Speaking of that 70, as right now no stage points and looking bad. Oh, Sears and Reynolds just had a little dust up there. They were both for sideways. Reynolds obviously struggling with the back of that car. Sears, I think, almost got into him. He did. And we still focus on Proudfoot here. Proudfoot not really making the inroads he needs on Roberts right now. Again, holding station. He's had some clean track last couple laps here, last 2 laps, I should say. And his laps have been slower than that of Brent Roberts. That time by, they ran dead even. As we're cutting through battles here, there was Sears and Reynolds. Here's another battle we got on track. Featherplace and Withers. Featherplace just got around Withers.
This was an interesting little battle here. We'll kind of go back and look at it. This is the battle for that spot between Withers and Featherplace, and they traded this back and forth throughout this exchange. All the way through turns 3 and 4. It took a lot for Featherplace just to get around Withers there.
With a lot of his stuff.
Yeah.
Just kind of do a quick follow-up as battles are kind of settling out here. Do a quick follow-up. Emma Kruger looks like it was an unscheduled stop as she's been in the pit lane for about 2 minutes so far. So must have been very heavy damage to that 70. And right now that clock is ticking on. So not a race for the 70 right now that she would want. And she's going to have to recover next week. But looks like, again, heating up again between Reynolds and Sears here. As I saw Sears about to get a run on the 7. Looks like he kind of held it in check. And now looks like Reynolds gets the better run off.
Oh, trouble. Featherplace. Proudfoot, excuse me.
Yeah, that's
in the inside lane.
We knew he was running hard to try to catch up to that 1. It looks like he may have ran himself a little too hard, as that was he was all alone when he made that mistake.
Now, I'll take another look at it here. This is Proudfoot. This is through 1 and 2. Just unloads the car, fishtails it, and around he goes.
Mm-hmm.
And a little bit of kiss of the inside wall for good measure.
There's a little drift kiss. He'll be fine. Not much damage, but obviously time lost.
Yeah, he's down to 10th place now. Well and truly out of it. All the cars in front of him now in the playoff battle.
Yep.
As Michelle gets passed by his team boss, Seth Wansing, up to P2. It's Sunday Money Racing. 1, 2, 3 at the moment.
And this is what the doctor ordered for the constructors battle. As
absolutely.
With line power not having as good of a day here, Sears obviously been carrying the flag. Featherplace barely got any points in stage number 2. Emma Kruger was having kind of a poor day, and same thing with Edward Marshall, neither getting stage points. It's really just been the Sears carrying the show, while Sunny Money Race carrying it hard though. But speaking of, Wansing gets off the corner a little bit too aggressive. He won't cough up a little bit of time, but not a lot. As we are coming up to the pit stop window here, we should see stops within the next 10 so laps here. Maybe earlier, a little later, up to driver's progression. But final pit stop of the night should be coming.
Drivers aiming to make it to about lap 142.
Ooh. Sears and Reynolds side by side here, down the straight.
And Sears got the advantage into 1.
Yeah, Sears tried that about 10 laps ago, couldn't get it done, and has been recovering that whole time. Now we'll get the job done, that ELM machine. And Reynolds, a tale of 2 halves, really burned off those rears, and now he's kind of a sinking stone, just trying to mitigate the damage.
He's got to hold on for a few more laps here. Oberstadt and Kruger in pit lane. Oberstadt in once again for, I believe, scheduled service here. Kruger now in pit lane for repairs. Over 5 minutes on pit lane.
Yeah, she's been there ever since. She has not left in a while, so whatever she did, that machine is got a big lick.
And in comes Reynolds. Reynolds in pit lane now. He will give up his spot here early. Try to get some undercut going here.
Looks like Matthew Leiter also going to come in here as well. Windows open. He wants in. He's coming in.
Roberts leads the way by 6.5 seconds. Roberts leads the way. Then it's Wanzing Michelle. Leiter in pit lane. He's making his stop here. You see him on pit lane there on the top of your screen for a moment. Going to be a very staggered pit stop sequence here. Again, Roberts leading the way. Wanzing second. Michelle third. Sears fourth. David Wright sitting top 5. With 42 laps to go at the line.
I feel like this race has flown by.
100% has flown by.
Yeah, no real cautions to speak of. Only cautions were the stage breaks.
Knock on wood there for that, though. Don't want it to change in the last 40 laps. Again, for those that are unfamiliar, typically this is about the time we start broadcasting the Saturday Night Showdown series. That is not the case. We'll be broadcasting the Saturday Night Showdown competition tomorrow night on Sunday. Bit of a flop around there between the schedules here for the ARCS series. Monday, coverage for the HT Daytona 300 begins 7 p.m. on ABN Esports 2, with coverage of the race beginning here on ABN Esports 1 at 8 p.m. So that's the next couple days of activity here on ABN as Roberts makes his way into pit lane. The one car will relinquish the race lead, potentially. No, his teammate Michelle will come in with him. The Wanzi came in a lap before. So where does that put Tom Sears? Lurkin' Tom for Line Power Motorsport. 40 laps to go at the line. Tom Sears won Stage 1, finished third in Stage 2. Has grabbed a significant haul of stage points in this race.
Obviously, would like to get the win if he can, but
Absolutely.
he will not complain with those stage points.
Obviously, a look here as cars make that travel down the pit lane. Points as they run after the first 2 stages of tonight. This is how it looks with Reynolds, Gaiman, and Fetter Place. Ryan Pennell, Austin Purnell not taking part in tonight's race. Neither did Jeremy Breo. All 3 of those drivers will end up in the bottom 4. After tonight's race, Emma Kruger once again finds herself on the outside looking in, having a bad result here tonight. She is the last of the playoff drivers in tonight's race as pit stops occur. But this is going to be pretty significant to follow up on throughout the playoffs, these 10 races. Tom Sears leads the way still. The number 14 car still yet to pit. Brandon Fetterplace, his teammate Edward Marshall, Line Power provisionally 1, 2, 3, but it will not last. At some point, Sears will have to pit, as will Fetterplace.
Well, Fetterplace coming in this time by can confirm that for you. So he'll be coming in. We know Sears can go long. And again, there's an advantage and disadvantage. Going longer, obviously, if a caution were to come out, cold tires, what have you, he could maybe be able to capitalize, pin a bunch of cars lap down, gain the track position. There's the flip-flop of the coin, though. Obviously, he's losing a lot of time by staying out, but he could take less fuel and have fresher tires by the end. So Sears playing the long game here. He thinks he can gain the time back.
Likewise, you think about this, if he can make it go about 30 laps, he could do potentially a 2-tire stop here and save time.
Well, he's coming in this time by.
Yeah, came in hot.
Yeah, very hot.
3 and 4.
Gaiman also coming in as well. Obviously, had that instant early on the final stage, so not really in contention, but he is still, at the very least, coming in.
He's already a lap down. He was already in 8th place before that. His teammate, Sears' teammate, Edward Marshall, will take over the lead of this race as David Wright gets his lap back. Again, for those just tuning in, there is a poll going on in the chat that has a couple minutes left in it. Pick your winner for the ARCS Southern 250 here tonight. Several drivers that we've seen at the front of the field all night long available, and then there's also the option for other. If you don't think that one of the 5 options provided are it, pick other. Take that gamble and see if you win. Marshall letting his teammate go by.
Right now, it looks like the house is bet on Bren Roberts right now. He's got a majority of the votes. Only Tommy, actually, no, it's 99%, but I see no one else. Looks like a few other votes for Tom Sears, Tommy Reynolds, and other for the poll. But Bren Roberts right now, the runaway favorite in odds right now to win this race, assuming he comes back when stops finish out and can get the spot.
Looking at the center of your screen right now is Daniel Michel, who just set the fastest lap of the race at 29.15 for the 25 car for Sunday Monday Racing. Still behind his teammate by 4.3 seconds. Bren Roberts should inherit the lead here when Marshall makes his pit stop. But Edward Marshall holding on to the race lead, leading some laps, patting the stat book there a little bit. 10 cars on the lead lap. It should be 11 cars by the time Marshall comes in, because Withers should be ahead of Bren Roberts here. And he is. Coming to 32 laps to go. Again, you're looking at the 1 car. Throwback night for some drivers here. Last week was college night, so some drivers taking part in the themed events. Throwback to the 1 car of Steve Park back in the 2001-2002 seasons. Arguably probably the most iconic Pennzoil car in the US when you think about that company's presence in motorsport in general. Roberts trying to win with it. He's won with the Coca-Cola machine that was seen as a throwback to the Dale Earnhardt Jr. car and Motegi from '98. Trying to do it again in a different throwback to that era. You see Tommy Withers in the McDonald's number 23 right up the road. He's hoping for a bit of a yellow. Marshall's come down pit lane. Bren Roberts has re-inherited the race lead. He won stage 2. And he's trying to lock himself into the round of 12. What an easy breeze through it could be if Roberts could win on the nose here tonight.
Yeah.
You want to talk about making it as easy as possible. Winning at Darlington means you don't have to worry about Kansas and Bristol. You just move on to Texas, a track that Bren Roberts has already won at. His first race win came at Texas. Just a year ago. So it's a track that he knows extremely well. This is where Bren Roberts came into his own form in 2022. He was a new driver, was not chase eligible, was not playoff eligible, I should say. Now he is, and now he should be 100% considered a threat to make it to the Championship 4 with wins at Texas, wins at Las Vegas. Those are both tracks in these final 10 races. The next race next Sunday, September 10th, at Kansas Speedway.
And again, Bren Roberts has been in a bit of a weird spot this season. He's been a very high-low driver. We've seen him get that win at Nashville, and then he had a good run at Pocono. He had a few good runs at some other tracks, but either not being able to show up for some races, and in other races just kind of being like okay, like 7th, 8th, sometimes a little bit outside the top 10. It's kind of what the doctors ordered. Racing's about momentum, and especially in the playoffs, it's about being good when it matters. And right now, Roberts has found that key. He's found that switch. And right now is looking good at the moment, but Michel is reeling in Roberts. So a Sunday Monday driver is reeling in another Sunday Monday driver. Now, true, Roberts is being held up a little bit by this 23 of Withers, who is at the very least trying to stand the lead lap just in case something were to happen. So, but the time is falling. It's now just a little bit over 3, and it's going to be 3 seconds before they get to the start-finish line.
Look at this conglomeration of cars behind Matthew Leiter. Leiter, David Wright, Brandon Proudfoot, Tom Sears, Brandon Fetterplace, all in this battle outside the top, really 4th, 5th position as David Wright gets loose. Gives Leiter a bit of reprieve. But this is a conglomeration of cars that is gathered here in the final stanza of this race. How does that shake out?
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting. Points all matter. A lot of these drivers are fighting except for Proudfoot. So every point matters. Every position matters.
Oh, you never know when there's a car in the inside wall. I'll have to go back and look. It looks like somebody took a hard shot to the inside wall for the back. I don't know if they just got loose, but they went dead left out of turn 4.
Yeah, I'm looking. No, it didn't pop up on the crash thing, so it looks like he didn't hit the wall, whoever it was.
That was about as close to being a crash that wasn't then. Just a flicker of pixels on our screen here as we watch this battle for 6th.
I'll see, try to see who it was. Going back to look.
Feemster entering pit lane.
Maybe it was Feemster.
It could be that 21 car. Oh, he's definitely got trouble because he just ran to the inside wall. He had trouble turning. It could have been Feemster there.
Looking right now.
And that would make sense if he pancaked that left side.
Yep, he was the one. Yeah, he went on the inside.
It makes sense because he was struggling there a lot. And obviously if he kept it pointed straight, then it wouldn't have thrown it up on our monitor there as an incident. But we saw Feemster come down pit lane. And obviously that left side was completely crushed because he had no turning ability to the right. Unfortunately for Feemster, he's going to join Kruger in the retirement line for this race.
And again, at least the positive he did get stage 1.
Trouble, Gaiman behind.
That's Gaiman around, still one car. Way on the inside.
Same place as Feemster, but a little bit more spectacular and slow, but he will also end up jumping out of this race, so he will lose spots as well. There's Proudfoot.
That's going to be a caution. That's 2 cars.
And Sears.
That should maybe be a caution considering it's 2, but they got it pointed in the right direction. They kept it straight. Control has not done anything yet.
This is crazy. And Sears will come on the apron here, trying to get out of the way, trying to make sure that his car is okay. Didn't see any significant impact there on the sides.
Yeah, it looks like it's... So, Control not going to call that. We will stay green.
Wild stuff here. Again, for those watching us live here on ABN Esports 1, we are 1 away from 600 followers here on Twitch. We appreciate you all supporting us throughout these past 2 years. Watching this battle, race 27 of 36, the first round of the ARCS A² playoffs. Proudfoot and Sears battling for 8th place, not where they wanted to be battling. David Wright's gotten around Matthew Leiter for 5th. In this battle for the top 5, David Wright 5th, Matthew Leiter 6th, better place in 7th. And here we go.
Again, it gets a weird dichotomy. You got David Wright, who won at Richmond, won last week. Matthew Leiter, who thought as soon as racing Daytona, he wasn't fighting for a championship. Then he got the magical call that allowed him to be in it, and now he's fighting for a championship. And then you got Featherplace, who's the regular season points leader right now, who looks like he's going to get around Leiter, who is looking to kind of, he did so good enough in the season to be the best driver point lead, and now is looking to try to keep that momentum going by getting back in the top 5.
Phenomenal job so far in this battle. Leiter slipping down to 7th place behind Wright and Fetterplace. Meanwhile, with 18 laps to go, Brent Roberts just trying to hold on and maintain that race lead. He's got cars in front of him. That is Sears and Proudfoot, who were tangled together just a couple laps ago. Roberts trying to navigate this and make it an easy win on his way in. Sunday Money Racing once again 1, 2, 3. With Wanzing now in 3rd, firmly ahead of Reynolds. How this was a race of what ifs for Tom Sears. Won stage 1 in phenomenal fuel-safe fashion. Something we've seen him do before.
Stage 2, he led almost the whole stage. Only got caught at the very end by Bren Roberts and Tommy Reynolds. And then
Finished
stage
third.
3. Yeah, stage 3 kind of sunk a little bit like a stone, was still kind of battling for a top 5, then had that incident with Proudfoot, and is now going to go 1 down here. Still in the top 10, though, but yeah, not probably too happy about how it ends, but at the very least, still got some good stage points, and he can at least hold his hat on. Josh Gaiman has pulled behind the wall. He has also retired, so bad luck Gaiman has continued at least a little bit, as he will be having to try to rely on next week to get some points. Luckily, a bit of a cushion with his wins, so it's not too detrimental, but obviously looking to try to reel from this.
Yeah, definitely not a pleasant night with how things have gone so far. 5 cars out of this race. Josh Gaiman, the most recent retirement. Kevin Feemster out. Emma Kruger out after 132 laps. Elvis George out after 118. And Austin Mongold out early after suffering a speeding penalty and electing to just sort of call it a night there. So that's how that looks there at the moment as we watch Bren Roberts leading this race. Feta Place and David Wright once again battling for 6th. Really, for 5th, excuse me.
Now, obviously, as we're watching this battle here, there's something kind of worth noting at the very least. Juan's right now in 3rd. Obviously, Team Boss of Sunday Monday Racing, very happy right now with his cars 1, 2, 3. But there's probably a bit of him in the back of his mind right now that wants a caution so we can get a re-rack. Even if it affects the 1, 2, 3 they got, he wants to maybe have a chance to get this win right now, being 9 back. Needs a re-rack to even have a chance.
Yeah, it's not helping him out much at all there tonight.
Like, he's a happy Team Boss, but a little bit sad just because, obviously, not battling for the win at the moment. See Feather Place and Wright there fighting. Feather Place again trying to get in the top 5. Looks like that was a light that almost hit the wall. It was that white team machine of, I think it's it's either Oberstad or Edward Marshall that almost kissed that wall just a bit.
Seeing things as they run at the moment. Whoa, trouble!
Oh,
that was
whoa.
Patrick Oberstadt
Yeah, whoa.
right in the middle of the track.
Almost took out 2 cars there, like, didn't even see it. Looks like he pancaked the wall, kind of similar to what I saw earlier on lap 1. I don't know if it was Oberstad or not. I can't remember all that way back. But he went low, spun, and then came up with the racing surface, locked it down, and then hit the wall, ping-ponged off, and then there they went. So, just a weird situation. But, almost took out 2 cars there indirectly just because they didn't know where he was going.
Almost took out 2 playoff drivers in that circumstance. Bren Roberts leads the way, coming to what will be 9 laps to go. Next time by, Leiter, the next car up the track there in 7th place. Oberstadt comes down pit lane, makes it around the pit lane safely.
Looks like Michelle also had a little bit of an incident as well. He was 2.5 back. Now he's down to 6 seconds. So looks like
that incident may happen right in front of Michelle. Let's see if we can find it here real quick, because that was a lot to look at here. Let's go and take a look at the replay here. This is Patrick Oberstadt in the 41.
Oh, I can tell you he wasn't involved, and he got his own little spin incident. So
this is Oberstadt. This comes to a stop. And you see there, that was still an actively ongoing situation that we rolled up on with Wright and Fetter Place. So that's what happened to him there. Obviously, again, looking back to see what happened to Josh Gaiman. This is what happened. Excuse me. Sorry, we went back to Lifetime a little bit early there, but we'll kind of cut back to see what happened to Josh Gaiman here in just a second as we have a battle for 5th place once again heating up.
This time out the 41 to kind of surprise us there. Again, Fetter Place has got the faster car, right? Trying to hang on to the top 5. Again, Fetter Place looks like he's going to get the run here, but you see he's a little bit too far back. you got to be pretty close to be able to send it, and he's just not there to really get the lunge.
Battle is as close as it can be here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, David Wright gave up the outside a little bit. And there's a little bit of contact. They're going to be side by side here. Entering 3 and 4.
Regular season champions got the run, but he just can't get the exit he needs, though. He'll have to tuck back in.
Yeah, he's trying to shake off David Wright here. David Wright in the 42, just trying to hold on to a top 5. What a turnaround of form it could be for him. Showing himself some moxie here in South Carolina. As they battle for the top 5, Brent Roberts has a 6.8 second advantage over his teammate Daniel Michel. Sunday Money Racing trying to hold on to just a 1-2-3 finish here tonight. What a phenomenal performance it would be for this team if they can do it. 5 laps to go. It's 5 more laps for Feather Place to try to make an advantage out of David Wright somehow, some way. As tires begin to fall off once again. Leiter tags the wall. There's Ben Roberts, the yellow Pinzo machine, just off in the distance. That's how close the race leader is to this battle for 6th. 4 laps to go for Feather Place and David Wright. 3 laps to go for the race leader.
Likely to hit the lead for the catching is slim to none here. They will finish this battle with the 4 laps they need. Again, Feather Place just knocking. He just can't get close enough to really to make that happen. He's close.
Another heavy contact with the outside wall of 2 for Matthew Leiter. He is struggling mightily here at the final stage of this race. As we watch again this battle for 5th place with 3 to go for them. Ben Roberts in the clear.
Yeah, one advantage is, at least in Leiter's case, is that he's got about a 4-second gap to Sears, his next car in line, so he won't have to really worry about losing position. Oh, Wright got a little loose. Way to lose. Oh, he's coming up the race surface.
Is that going to be a caution? Car stationary.
Oh, he's coming down. Leiter going to avoid it.
That was close. They're going to keep it green here. What a way for that to change. If a caution to come out there and force overtime, that would have flipped this race on its head. It will not. Brent Roberts will come around out of 4 to take the white flag. 1 lap to go here in Darlington for Brent Roberts, who just has to bring the car home and tiptoe behind that of Matthew Leiter. 7 seconds the gap between Roberts and Daniel Michel. He can coast from here if he needs to. So much space here for Brent Roberts to work with, and he will leave Leiter on the lead lap. A little bit of pride there for the 83. He's going to punch his ticket into the round of 12. Brent Roberts wins at Darlington.
Yep, great performance there. Able to hold on, get the win, and now he is locked into the playoffs. So, locked into the next round, I should say. He doesn't have to worry about the next 2 weeks. Michel will come on second. It will be a sweep at the podium for Sunday Money Racing. 1, 2, 3. Beatron's 4th with Tommy Reynolds, and Brandon Featherplace will bring it home in 5th. So that will be your top 5. But
phenomenal drive there for Brent Roberts, who is now locked in to the round of 12.
Yeah.
Daniel Michel will finish this race in 2nd place with a really good run tonight. An extra 49 points total tonight between the stages and obviously the result tonight. What a drive. And the entire team here on victory lane. Brent Roberts, his last win was earlier this year in Nashville. Make him a 4-time race winner here tonight. And there's the burnout.
Yeah, well-deserved burnout, you could say. He's going to enjoy that one for all it's worth. Okay, doesn't have to worry about the next 2 weeks. Just has to worry about getting maybe more points help on the next stage. Other than that, enjoy it. And he also gets to kind of burn it down in a throwback livery as well. So, happy days for that one. You may even open up a box of Nilla wafers.
Good burnout there for Bryn Roberts here. Race winner at Darlington. As we're getting points calculated here after a wild, wild night. What a wild time here at Darlington. Bryn Roberts, the race winner here this evening. We hear from our podium finishers here in just a moment, but here is the unofficial look at the race results. Bryn Roberts, race winner, ahead of Daniel Michelle and Seth Wansing. Sunday Money Racing 1, 2, and 3 here tonight, ahead of Tommy Reynolds for Beachron Racing. Brandon Fetterplace rounding out the top 5. It was 6 cars finishing on lead lap. Matthew Ladder, we saw, able to take that checkered flag on the lead lap ahead of Tom Sears. Our Stage 1 race winner, hoping for a little bit more tonight. David Wright in 8th place. And then Brandon Proudfoot, Tommy Withers in the top 10. A good run for him. Much needed points, especially if he wants to be the underdog story again and make it into the round of 12 tonight. Stephen Oberstadt in 12th place behind Edward Marshall. Then Patrick Oberstadt in 13th place. Brother and brother finishing 12th and 13th. Not the race that they wanted to see tonight, but they get to move on to Kansas next week. Oberstadt, again, Stephen in the points, in the chase for the championship here. We'll move on to Kansas next week. Josh Gaiman, not a good race for him. 14th place would be what he has to deal with, and he's going to have his back against the wall here early on. Same with Kevin Feemster and Emma Kruger. That is how they stack up 14th, 15th, and 16th retirements in this race. Irish George, 17th. Austin Mongold, the last car running, only completed 85 laps here tonight in 18th position. Mm-hmm. Moving on to the points as they currently run. Tommy Reynolds holds on to that points lead. However, a lot of things shaking up here. Bryn Roberts up to 2nd place in the points. Again, he's locked in. He's confirmed to be in the round of 8. Doesn't matter what happens now. He is good to go in that playoff fight. Daniel Michelle, 3rd place. A good points haul for him. Ahead of Brandon Fetterplace, who drops 2 spots, having not scored a lot of points in the stages, and obviously finishing in 5th place tonight behind those ahead of him. Tom Sears gained some stage points. We'll have to use that as a buoy going into Kansas and Bristol. Josh Gaiman down 2 positions to 6th place. David Wright in 7th. Also losing some spots, but David Wright having a decent run of form here tonight, finishing 8th. Seth Wansing finishing in the 8th position, Matthew Ladder in 9th place, up 5 spots with that finish here this evening. Then it's Withers, Oberstadt, and Feemster currently above the cut line. Kruger right below the cut line, and then you have Breo, Purnell, and Ryan Purnell, who did not take the start of tonight's race.
Yeah, a lot of cars definitely going to be happy for Kansas next week. I know Emma Kruger's definitely going to be, as she sounded off in the chat, very happy for Kansas next week. A few other drivers as well looking to rebound in Kansas, and for the cars that weren't able to show up, hopefully they can show up in Kansas and get their playoffs off to a interesting start.
That being said, we get to talk to our podium finishers tonight. We'll start with the race winner. We'll start with Bryn Roberts. Bryn, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
What a drive. Race win. Number 4 of your career here in the A-Square Cup Series. And what an emphatic performance. Won Stage 2 and completely dominated Stage 3. Walk us through this track and obviously what came to you here in this race tonight.
This track is probably one of the best tracks for this car on iRacing. It's so much fun to drive as long as you're not making a mistake. The setup was really, really loose really early, and then I kept burning up the right front throughout the run, and it's so tough to turn once you burn up the right front coming up off the corner. It's just a really challenging track. A lot of us had a lot of challenges tonight, and I'm glad that I was able to show some pace finally.
It makes the next couple weeks very easy for you, obviously. Obviously, Kansas and Bristol, the next round's coming up. You're already into the round of 12. Tracks that we saw you win at last season, Texas and Talladega, tracks that were very, very, very good for you last year. That was when you really kind of came in as a contender. What got you that first round pick status? Looking at Kansas and Bristol, it's all about bonus points at this point for you. Does Kansas and Bristol bode well for you going into the round of 12 to just pick up some bonus points and make tracks like Talladega easier if you do have a better race?
I hope so. I mean, hopefully in an ideal situation, I'd win Kansas and Bristol. Obviously, that's probably not going to happen with the talent in this series. I need all the points I can get because I'm going to miss Talladega in the next round. So I'll be taking drop points for that. So that, I mean, that's 10 points right there. So I'll be in a deficit in that round. So it's going to be really tough to advance. I'm probably looking at likely half needing to win Texas. I'm not going to be able to win the Roval. I know I won it last year, but the talent in this series has gotten significantly better. But yeah, next round is going to be tough. So hopefully I can get enough bonus points for that round.
Absolutely. You did a phenomenal job tonight here, winning at Darlington, the puncher ticket into the round of 12 already. A solid contender in that throwback Pennzoil machine. Obviously, we'll talk to your teammates here later on. A 1-2-3 for Sunday Money Racing, a good result for the team. But before we let you go and kind of let you celebrate Labor Day weekend in style, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congratulations on your 4th win in A Squared, your 2nd of the season.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks to Daniel and Seth. Those guys, I mean, they push me to get better because if I'm not on the top of my game, they would just blow me away. So I think we all make each other better as a team. We work well as a team. And I'm really looking forward to the next 9 weeks racing with them and Donald when he comes back. So it's really fun. Thank you.
Again, a fantastic job for Bryn Roberts. Race winner tonight here in Darlington. We'll see him next week at Kansas to see what he can do to get some more bonus points towards that round of 12. Bryn, enjoy it and have a good good Labor Day weekend.
Thank you.
That was Bryn Roberts, race winner here tonight. We'll talk to Daniel Michel, 2nd place finisher. Again, a race of what if. Looked really good in stage 1. Looked a lot better in stage 2. But obviously, just 1 point off from a race win here tonight in Darlington. Daniel, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. You got a copy?
I got a copy.
Alrighty, a good result for the team here tonight. A 1-2-3 for the team. You looked to be pretty strong all night long, but strategy seemed to have been a sticking point for you. Kind of just walk through, obviously, stage 1, you had a lot of pace, and then it fell apart. You figured it out there in stage 2. But by stage 3, it was Bryn Roberts sort of off and away. Kind of just walk us through your night here.
Yeah, it was a bit of chaos. Stage 1, I knew Gaiman was going to be one of the fastest guys out there. And I knew if I can make a move early, because I had the speed, and I got ahead of him, I could potentially hold him back and then try and keep the position after pit stops. And it worked. However, Tom Sears was able to save fuel, and he made it to the end there. And it kind of messed up my strategy there. But entering stage 2, I got a speeding penalty trying to maximize my my pit lane. So I just went to the back, filled it up with fuel, made sure I could make it to the end, and drove my way back up to 5th. I'm happy about that. And it was tough. Stage 3, I think, was the roughest for me because I think 20 laps into stage 3, I slammed the wall. I destroyed the right side, and my right front was caved in. So that I was just bleeding time. I had 2.5 seconds to Brent at the time. I dropped all the way back to 7 seconds by pit stops, and I had to make up 5 seconds by the time I got out.
Obviously, a good result here tonight makes it look a lot easier going forward in the round of 16. Obviously, your team's full of race winners. Roberts with his 2nd win of the season, tying you as far as your win total this season. Obviously, Seth there in 3rd place, a good result overall there. How do you feel going through the rest of the round of 16 here? Kansas and Bristol coming up. Do you think you can possibly be the next one to join those locked in?
Well, I'd love to be locked in. I have a feeling that as long as I could do really well at Kansas, I don't have to worry about Bristol, because I know Bristol is on my bottom tier of tracks. I absolutely despise short tracks, so I just want to get all my points in next week, hoping for a win, lock myself in, don't have to worry about Bristol, because it's going to be hectic, and I know that I'm bad there.
Well, it's going to be a phenomenal race here next week at Kansas. Obviously, a phenomenal 1.5-mile racetrack. You've won at Fontana, you've won in New Hampshire, you've shown a lot of versatility in the tracks that you've won at tonight. So we hope to see a little bit more of that again next week as well. A second place finish tonight for Sunday Money Racing. Before I let you go and let you enjoy your Labor Day weekend, though, if there's anyone to shout out and say thank you to, Daniel, the floor is yours. Congrats again. A phenomenal podium effort here tonight. Consistent performance for the number 25 crew.
Yeah, I just want to thank, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but my team, Bren and Seth, like he said, they just, all of us help each other get really good. Seth's been trying to get me to relax on the aggressive moves, and I've been taking a page out of Bren's book, taking it easy, trying to just position my car well so that others have a hard time getting by me, and using the speed that I know that I have to help myself stay up front. And I just want to thank the admin team. I know there was a lot of hectic stuff going on, so I'm glad they were there, and just everyone here. I just love racing with everyone, and being on the broadcast and hearing the broadcast is just a fun time.
Well, we're glad to see you on track here. That number 25 looked phenomenal tonight here at Darlington. Daniel, again, enjoy the podium finish. Some really good points for the number 25 team tonight and for the team as a whole. Sunday Money Racing sweeping the podium places. Kansas up next, the home track for that team. So, and again, enjoy your Memorial Day or your Labor Day week, and we'll be seeing you in about 8 days' time at Kansas.
Yep.
That was Daniel Michel, second place finisher here this evening. We have one more person to talk to, and that is none other than Sunday Money Racing's team leader, Seth Wanzing. He's got a race win. Watch his team dominate tonight. We'll gather his thoughts from the number 9 crew. Seth, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. You get a copy.
Hey, Carmen, I got you.
What a night for the team, kicking off the playoffs with a podium sweep here this evening. Bryn Roberts, obviously the race winner. Daniel Michel, second place. You finishing right there in third place ahead of your home race next week. How are you feeling about how this playoff started for you?
I don't think you could have asked for a better start, Carmen, team-wise. I mean, Daniel and Bryn were out front all night long. Just, had a poor qualifying effort. Got loose on my first lap off, too, because it gripped up. And then Darlington then gave me false hope and then hit the wall on my second lap. But, frustrating. First stage, just had to stay patient, work my way up through the field, got loose underneath someone. But I know that I trust myself here at Darlington. I knew if I stayed patient and knew if I just kept the car out of the wall, kept myself clean, I get myself somewhere around the top 5. Started stage 2 and 5th, and then Feem got loose on top of me, going for 3rd, I think, and just felt bad that I ended up kind of finishing him off there and kind of hurt myself, but didn't have a whole lot of places to go, and drove my way back up to 10th. After that, I fell back to 14th or 15th, and then stage 3 was just patient, and Proudfoot spun out in front of me and made a few moves and got up to 2nd, and then just, man, I sucked getting on and off pit road. Was trying to undercut Bryn and at least get close to him because I knew I had a really good long run car, but didn't have the short run pace. But man, just super pumped for the team and super proud of the team tonight. And I know if Donald Ray was here, he would have ran really well here at Darlington too.
Absolutely phenomenal performance from the team tonight. Looking forward to the team's home race, obviously your home race as well, Kansas Speedway. The track that you enjoy. A lot of drivers I think really enjoy Kansas Speedway as a whole. Walk us through, obviously, a phenomenal start. Do you think that you all can carry that momentum here going through the rest of the round of 16 and see if you can get at least one or more of your drivers a race win before Bristol?
I think so. Daniel's fast everywhere he goes. He should shut his mouth about being slow at short tracks because he'll turn up and win one.
He literally won New Hampshire.
Yeah, exactly. So, but excited to go to my home track. As you know, Carmen, that one's eluded me for a bit. I mean, I was leading early and kind of having a really nice stage 1 in the spring and had some technical issues. And the year before that in the fall, I came home late and started 2 laps down and still finished, I think, 6th or 7th. So, really excited. Gonna go try to get a win at Kansas and just try to stay consistent like all four of us are when Donald comes back. I know he's not in the playoffs, but just stay consistent and put ourselves in position at the end like we did there, and we kind of took over from stage 3 on there as a team. So that was a cool moment. Very proud of Bryn. He dominated stage 3, and very proud of the progression of Daniel and being a little bit more calm and taking what the race car gives him, because he's so fast and probably one of the faster guys, if not the fastest guy in ARCS. So, it's starting to all come together at the right time.
Absolutely. Can't get much better than a 1-2-3 sweep here for Sunday Money Racing here at the Southern 250. Before I let you go and let you enjoy your Labor Day weekend, though, if there's anyone to shout out and say thank you to, Seth, the floor is yours. Congrats on a phenomenal team performance as the team boss. You get to take some credit in that. A 1-2-3 effort tonight. Wanzing, you're in 3rd place tonight with Kansas coming up. Another big weekend for that team just ahead in 8 days' time.
Yeah. Shout out to you and Kevin, Carmen, for doing the broadcast week in and week out. They look fantastic. Shout out to my fellow admin team, and especially Matthew Kent tonight being the eye in the sky. Shout out to everybody at ARCS that makes this thing go. And everybody that came out. I know Labor Day weekend we wanted to do one night race and figured this would be a good night, and definitely had a better car count than we did Labor Day on Sunday last year. And shout out to my team, Sunday Money Racing. I mean, can't get much better than 1-2-3, and we'll go on from there. And thanks to Midwest Barbecue and 213 Simware, and fun night.
Absolutely. Again, Seth, enjoy the podium finish. Enjoy your Labor Day weekend, and we'll be seeing you very shortly at Kansas.
Thank you, Carmen.
That's going to do it from us here. Podium interviews completed. There, Seth Wanzing, 3rd place, watching his team completely dominate tonight's festivities here this evening. Bryn Roberts, the race winner. Daniel Michelle, 2nd place. Seth Wanzing in 3rd. Again, going over the results of tonight's event. There's the full grid as they finish tonight's race. From Bryn Roberts to Austin Mongold there. A lot of playoff drivers doing fantastic tonight. Top 8 all playoff drivers. None of top 10 in the playoff standings there this evening. And then looking at points as they currently run, it's Tommy Reynolds still leading the way, using that bonus that he had from his 5 race wins in the regular season. Bryn Roberts, however, locked in now, moved up to 2nd in points. If we were going purely by points, he'd be up to 2nd place, but he's already locked in. We'll see how he stands at the end of this round. Daniel Michelle looking for a race win still, same with Brandon Fetto place. But you see at the very bottom, 13th through 16th, now in the drop zone with 2 races left in the round. Tomorrow night, 8:45, we go live from Milwaukee for the ARCS Saturday Night Truck Series. Saturday Night Trucks on a Sunday evening. We'll see how it goes at Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Mile, 8:45 p.m. again. And then our coverage of the HTL Daytona 300 begins on ABN Esports 2 at 7 p.m. More information on that will come tomorrow. Be sure you're following us on social media, Esports on ABN on Twitter, and Aero Broadcast Network on Instagram. But on behalf of everyone here for ARCS, for Darkside Mustangs and the A-Square Cup Series, and everyone here at ABN Studios, I'm Carmen Sienna. On behalf of my commentator, Kevin Young, we will see you tomorrow night. But until then, have a good and safe Labor Day weekend. Try to stay cool out there in the weekend up ahead. It's going to be a very hot one here on the East Coast. But until then, stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow night.